regarding your question one, I thought that he already is the CEO of the Malaysian national football team, but that's only going from what I saw on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. I mean, that's how I found out first. And then me and Rob had a chat after. So I really don't know if he's appointed. I just know that I suppose now you're telling me that he's not appointed yet. So I guess it's all in progress, I guess. But so far with the conversations that we've had, he asked me about the football scene, the culture, the football culture, everything that, I told him a lot like 5-6 years ago when I played for his operation, his club with the two other owners, with him. And I came straight from, so I signed at PDRM and I already turned it down, Pacific FC. And then PDRM canceled the contract just after I signed, which is very strange. I got nothing out of it, but this is a whole nother conversation. But I thought I was going to be with PDRM. It didn't go through. And then last minute, I came to Pacific FC, and we had many conversations about how good Malaysia is. And he was very curious in that. But his new project was the CPL, right? So he's been part of that for all these years. And it's been going well. It's progressing very well, especially for Canada. So that's that. And yes, we had a slight conversation regarding my availability or addition to his, his team. But I told him I just joined Sapporo Consadole in Hokkaido as I suppose a translator and part assistant coach, I guess, or advisor or something for the young players, etc. So I'm with this team for a year, so I'm committed here to get re-promoted to J1. So that's my situation for this year. But I am, I know from a foreign perspective, as a foreign player perspective, how Malaysia is and the challenges that I faced. So we had a conversation about that, and what the challenges, what he's going to face, and with his background and knowledge in the marketing structure of football and attracting the right businesses, the right brands to really push forward and create that football culture, football religion almost, of how important this game is to all of us, So he's really gonna pump that. So regarding question 3, based on his reputation, availability, what do you think he can bring to Malaysian? So this is what I guess ties to what I just said. That he's always had his eyes set on the marketing and branding of football clubs. That's what he always found interested. We had this conversation a long time ago on one of the away games, and we were sitting next to each other, and he was talking about my art, because my art was kind of getting out on the social media over there, and he was curious about my art and saying how it'd be cool to do art after football, but I wasn't really that clear in which direction. I was still like mid-20s back then, so I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Everybody thinks football is forever, but and then he mentioned how he wanted to get into marketing, and he finds that so interesting, how finding the right sponsors, just like what I just said, finding the right sponsors to facilitate the club in the right image, and then that also attracts other brands also. So yeah, for the national team, we haven't had this long conversation yet. It's a very brief conversation. He was busy, it was Christmas and all that, holidays, and I'm in transition to Sapporo, so we haven't really had the time to chat. But I do know he's going for a visit to Malaysia soon, so I'm sure we'll have that conversation just before he goes. But I just remember telling him how excited I am for him, because Malaysia is my second home. I love the time that I had there. I had such a good time there, and I wish more Canadians would go there. I just didn't think it was going to be at the marketing side. But he is very, to experience what he has experienced as a player, as in top flight football, especially I'm sure he would also agree that the marketing in MLS or even CPL, more MLS, but the Americans are very good at the advertising side of any sport. They'll take any mediocre game, but just pump the crap out of it. They'll just keep pumping, and you'll see how much how much attention it creates. I always thought that they were geniuses when it came to that, because in Europe you don't really need to do any marketing, because the culture is already there. Everybody follows the games, the schedule, so you don't really need to pump. Whereas US needs to. You're competing with 5 other sports, so how to get the sports fans to come to that sport, right? To the venue. So you have to be creative, and yeah, you need creative minds to put that together. And him as a player, he's seen that at LA Galaxy, obviously, and he's seen the European side with Scandinavian teams and also Germany. So he has very good experience as a player at the top flight. And then seeing how CPL, which is a similar structure to MLS, so it's about, and then being, I guess, one of the last countries to even start a league, because we've been part of MLS, as in Canadians, we've been part of MLS with Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and every nation has its own whatever problems regarding football, whether it's politics, money, stadium, fans, etc. And Malaysia has their problems. Every country has their problems. In Canada, our problem was that we're too large of a country, and away games were always a problem. And and you need a big funding for those kind of games, etc. So there's only 3 big cities that's part of the MLS, but that doesn't quite help the Canadian young players and their futures, because there's really only 3 teams to play for. Because Canadians were considered foreigners in the other American teams, whereas the Americans were not considered foreigners in the Canadian city teams, because it is an American team. And there is emphasis on these university students and young players to get more established and get more experience, so you can help the nation's team, your international team. So Canada, we always lack that. And if a young player, everybody had to go out into Europe and try and make it out there, which was the case for majority of us. But now with obviously MLS, obviously some, I'm not quite sure how long, but over a decade, Toronto's been part of MLS, and now finally CPL, that's been going on for 5-6 years. So CPL now, it's more emphasis on really preparing for the World Cup and strengthening our national team, which has, I think, been working well, because some of these players from CPL has been moving forward to bigger leagues, like in Europe and also MLS. So the league has been doing very well. But also, to start leagues like this, you need so much backup. You need funding, etc. And then again, to compete against the other sports that do take up majority of the sports fans. We do have hockey, basketball, American football. What else did I say? American football, baseball, hockey. Yeah, I guess that's the main ones. And then we obviously have football, right? So I mean soccer. So it's a different challenge that he faces in Canada. Whereas I always told him that Malaysia has the 3 hardest things to get, which is the money, the fans, and the stadium. You have all those 3 things, yet you still haven't quite got to the next stage of like getting more big sponsors. Because in Europe, the money level, the marketing, the value keeps going up, yet some countries just don't progress as they should be. And there's many countries like that. So and it's obviously, marketing has to be a small a detail that should be taken seriously to attract more money. When there's more money, there's obviously more creativity and professionalism in the whole club. So I'm sure he's gonna see it from a perspective as an experienced player and also an experienced marketing director, I guess. So yeah, I'm super excited for his potential role. and what he's going to bring to the national team or the league itself. I'm not quite sure what role he's going to have yet. I don't think anybody knows what role he's going to have yet, but I've shown my interest. What a great opportunity or project to be part of. Like I said, Malaysia is my second home.